All right, all right. I hope everyone's keeping well and have had a decent game week so far. I've done all right. I've done all right. We'll talk a little bit about how I've gotten on. We'll go through all the games that have happened so far, as we always do. Bit of chit chat in the chat, of course. Let me know how you've gotten on this game week so far. We've been, I think we've been invaded by a load of spammers in the chat. So if you're going to spam, I will remove you from the chat because we want to try and keep this as like a conversation rather than a chat, a spam chat. So yeah, keep the spam to a minimum. 44 points for K, 21 points for Paul, 16 with 7. Poro he's second on my bench too. It's only 5 points, mate. Don't worry. It's 3 points more than a blank. I wouldn't lose any sleep over that. I've got to say, I wouldn't lose any sleep over that. 7 to play. I've got 5 to play. FPL is indeed very, very much back. I'm just trying to get my team on Fantasy Football Hub, and then we'll be up and running. Mango Smooth on 33 points. Uwa, it's good to see you in the chat, my friend. I hope you're keeping well. Paul, it's good to see you too, mate, of course, as always. You see that? There we go. So I'm counting it as 4.4 million because we haven't had the subs yet. So yeah, I'm on 30 points. We've got Neco Williams, Chris Richards, Anderson, who's first on my bench. I did have Palmer in my team, but obviously we all know what happened with Cole Palmer. We'll talk about that. Sorry, I'm just moving my mic. There we go. We all know what happened with Cole Palmer. So yeah, I got Williams, Richards, Anderson. Anderson against Man United. I thought Man United were really good against Arsenal, so we'll see if Fulham keep a clean sheet in that one. Salah is my captain, Bruno Fernandes still to go. On my bench, the 6-pointer from Dubravka, I decided to start Sanchez. A 3-point swing. I'm not going to lose any sleep, really. Poro, obviously, with his 5-pointer, clean sheet. Kept a clean sheet against Man City, by the way. So Spurs have kept... Well, they haven't conceded a goal yet this season in the Prem. I think their defence is pretty good, aren't they? I mean, I think the personnel-wise, like individual players, they've got some good players in their defence, haven't they? Van de Ven Romero is a very good, I think, centre-back partnership. Poro is a good right-back. And in Udogie and Jed Spence, they've got a good left-back as well, haven't they? They do, they do a good job. And Thomas Franks, I think he's a good manager for Spurs, let's be honest. Talking points from the players so far then. So Estev, 6-pointer. I'll take the clean sheet against Sunderland. Going back, I don't think I would have changed my decision. I was, given how well Sunderland played against West Ham, I just thought they'd do well in score against Burnley, and I had a worry. So I decided to split, and I started Sanchez. Could have bench boosted, I suppose, but it is what it is. What else we got to talk about? Rodgers, not too... Villa in general, I've not been too impressed with. They grew into the game. I suppose, towards the second half of that Brentford game. But obviously, Watkins and Rodgers both blanking. The thing for me is, we're going into an international break, right? I'm just hesitant to make too many transfers before the international break because we've got... what's going on with Zeichel there. We'll let him carry on for a little bit. I didn't say Captain Maguire. Of course I didn't. He's just having a joke. I'd just be hesitant about making too many transfers ahead of international break. Because, you're bringing in a player who's going to travel. There's too much risk, I think. So with Rodgers and Watkins, I'm probably going to keep hold of them. Can I click on them? What's going on? I want to check the fixtures they've got. I'm going to have to do it on here. Watkins, he's got Crystal Palace next, who are probably going to lose Mark Gahey. Everton away after that. Sunderland away, Fulham at home, Burnley at home. It's good fixtures, isn't it? And his stats have not been, terrible. 0.42 XG against Brentford. Newcastle. I mean, he didn't do anything against Newcastle, but I'm hesitant to get rid of him because if I did get rid of Ollie Watkins, I bring in Gyökeres. But then Gyökeres has got Liverpool up next. Do you know what I mean? It's hard. I'm probably going to keep him. Reinders, I mean, I had him since the start. So I guess what is good about him is I haven't used a transfer for him to blank. So I guess I'm quite happy about that. Chris Wood, I'm going to wait for him to play this weekend before coming to a conclusion. Yeah, Reinders, I'm quite pleased that I had him from the start. It wasn't a game for Man City, was it? They always struggle against Spurs, and that's exactly what happened. João Pedro, goal, 2 assists, really proved his value, I think. And he played the 10, didn't he, behind Delap? I think that's his best position, to be honest. And the one thing to say on Chelsea as well, I've got Cole Palmer, of course. I'm not going to sell Cole Palmer straight away. I'm going to wait for information. I always say this in FPL, but information in my mind is always better than price rises or trying to catch price rises. Like Palmer, he could play right wing. Well, I think the plan was at the start of the game for him to play on the right, which I think is his best position, where he's most effective in terms of scoring goals at least. So yeah, and if he is fit to go, I mean, he was fit enough to start against Crystal Palace. It was the same injury that prevented him playing against West Ham. Jury's out for me. Jury's out. What else we've got to talk about? That's it, really. The rest of my players are still to go. Let's have a look at the chat. So it looks like Zygole's been removed. That was an interesting one. FPL Wonder. I captained Gyökeres, but no João Pedro. I'm at 47 points with Sales, Williams, and Jaiverts to play. Thoughts? Yeah, I think if you have no João Pedro, you just stay without him, mate. I think you've got a plan and stick with it. You know, you can't have everyone. You can't just pick a player because they scored and got 2 assists. I think you can get away with not having him. It depends who you have in his place, I suppose. Good to see you in the chat, by the way, Nixie. Sorry, I nearly missed you amongst all the deleted messages there. You've had 9 points. That is unfortunate, mate. Oh, what's going on there? I like Wood for Watkins for West Ham, but they play Arsenal. I like Wood for Watkins for West Ham, but they play Arsenal. Yeah, I just wouldn't sell Watkins yet, mate. Wouldn't sell Watkins. I think you got to put the faith in him. I've done a free hit, put Haaland in, took Salah out. Terrible. Unlucky. I think that's unlucky. I'm cooking, ranked around 200k in the world and having more fun just taking the odd risk on players. Yeah, fair enough. That's a really good rank at this stage. Plans for Palmer, I just spoke through that. I also have Watkins and Rodgers. Yeah, I'm just going to roll with it, mate. Q Oasis. What about Aston Villa assets that just keep them, mate? Rodgers and Watkins are going to play in my mind in Game Week 3. I'd stick with them. Any injury news? So I think he's done his hamstring by the looks of it. I think if it was bad enough to force him off, Arteta said it was bad. I don't think he's torn it or anything because he walked. He wasn't screaming in pain or anything. For me, I think he'll miss Game Week 3. He's got 2 weeks of the international break then to recover. I think he could be back for Game Week 4. Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? People worry too much about fixtures. It's all about form and aura. We'll see, mate. I have 6 players left to play. I hope they can rescue me a bit. I will stick to the plan. Exactly. I think there are a lot of people that did knee-jerky transfers, like bringing in Reinders, for example. For me, it was Bowen to Wood or Mateta, and chose Wood in the end. Yeah, fair enough. I have Saka. If I had Bowen, I'd be questioning him, to be honest. I would agree with that. West Ham look horrific. I have Saka, Palmer, Arias. I'm in Tribble. Can you give us a list of midfielders to buy? Yeah, check out my buy and avoid video I made last night, mate. Wildcarding feels right for me despite the internationals, as we'll have transfers as backup. I think wildcarding Game Week 4 is perfect, to be honest, if you want a wildcard. I'm always worried about too many transfers before an international break. Yeah, exactly, top 10 travel. I like the carnage too. I always say in FPL, there's a level to the amount of patience you should give players. Sometimes you can give them too much. But I think, based on what we've seen so far, there's a patience game that needs to be played here. You know, Rodgers and Watkins have not suddenly become bad footballers. They've just gotten off to a slow start, for example. Richarlison does look good, but it's only a matter of time in my mind before Solanke comes into that team. You know, if you've got Richarlison, he's got, I think, 4 or 5 weeks left, and then something will happen that will make Solanke, that will make Solanke the first choice again. Excuse me. If you have a look at some of the games then, let's have a look at some of the games. I've also, I've got a quiz as well. 5 quiz questions. We'll be live for 45 minutes or so. We'll go through all the games, talk about the key talking points, the games we got coming up, and what else we got? Oh yeah, I'm going to go through the quiz. So obviously, Chelsea beating West Ham 5-1. I think the major talking point from that for me is how bad West Ham look. I think they are the team to target at the moment. So if you've got a player West Ham in Game Week 3, I think you'd be quite happy with that. Who have they got? They got Forest, haven't they? Have they got Forest? I can't remember. We had a goal from Paquetá, but obviously 5 goals from Chelsea. I think Sanchez could have done more for the goal as well. I've made this a talking point on my buy and avoid video, and I've done a short where I talk about him. Rob Sanchez, right? How are Chelsea in a position where they have a 10 outfield players as expensive and as good as they are, but they're still starting Rob Sanchez in goal? How can they be in that position? I've got nothing against Rob Sanchez personally. I just think he's a complete liability. I've got him in my FPL team. Goals for Chalobah, Neto, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, and João Pedro. 2 assists for João Pedro. He was quality in that game. Cucurella with an assist, Enzo Fernandez with an assist, and Esteban with an assist. Sanchez made 3 saves, so he got a save point, which puts him on 3. João Pedro with a max bonus. Paquetá with 2. Caicedo with 3. Defensive contributions. None of the Chelsea lot got them, but I mean, they won 5-1, so you're probably not expecting them to be making too many clearances, blocks, and interceptions. And Aguerd of West Ham got them, but because they conceded so many goals, he only got 2 points anyway. Yeah, exactly. That's my point, Nixie. They had good fixtures and they're a good defence on the whole, I would say. Man City Spurs. I mean, could anyone see... I was going to ask the question, could anyone see Spurs beating Man City? But I think the answer to that question is probably yes, isn't it? By the way, I saw a few people say it in the chat. I would really appreciate that. If you haven't already, we've got 203 people watching the live stream at the moment. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And 24 likes. So if we could hit 100 likes on the stream, that would be amazing. But I think Donnarumma's agreed personal terms with Man City, by the way. But yes, we could have seen Spurs beating Man City. Absolutely could have, and they did. They were really convincing for their win as well. I think the personnel, especially the signing of Palhinha this summer, is a really good move for Spurs. Palhinha is a really, really solid sort of defensive midfielder. When he played for Fulham, he made Fulham a European contending team. I genuinely think that he's that good. So Spurs getting hold of him from Bayern Munich is an absolute coup. Another one is Brennan Johnson. So last season, Brennan Johnson got 17 attacking returns from 24 starts. This season, he scored 2 goals in 2 games. Hasn't played a full 90, but I do think Brennan Johnson is a good option. And you're looking at, it depends, I guess, who Spurs sign in the window. They're in the market, I believe, for Savinho, which is interesting. But I think you've got a couple of decent 7 million midfielders in the game now. One being Semenyo, who I'd still say is right now the number 1, because he's just gonna start every game for Bournemouth, isn't he? And they're not in Europe. Whereas Tottenham are obviously in the Champions League. They're signing Savinho. He's always going to be a little bit of a minutes risk as Brennan Johnson. But the thing for me with Brennan Johnson is he is just so good for attacking returns. I'm surprised he doesn't play more games for Spurs, to be honest with you. But yeah, I like him as an option. Richarlison, well, Thomas Frank before the game said that Richarlison is his first choice number 9. So he's going to play for the foreseeable. But the thing that worries me for Richarlison is how long will he be the first choice for? I know I've seen a Tottenham fan in the chat saying that probably for a while, but I'm just not massively convinced. Solanke's a very good striker. Richarlison is usually quite I'd say he's a streaky player, and he's relatively injury prone as well. He's relatively injury. Only made 18 starts in the league last season. He got 15 attacking returns, but only made 18 starts. He's going to be travelling to South America for the international break. And however you say it, it's difficult to be in peak physical condition after a flight from South America for Game Week 4. Whereas I don't think Solanke's going to get selected for England. And you think of the striking options that Brazil have, I guess it's João Pedro and Richarlison, isn't it? You probably, although I don't think João Pedro is an out-and-out number 9. I will say that. I think it's probably Richarlison that's going to be the first choice number 9 for Brazil, isn't it? So with that in mind, is he going to play Game Week 4? That's the only question I'd have. But he's obviously a really good option. Van de Ven, by the way, he got 26. He didn't do anything in terms of bonus points. Romero got DEFCON, by the way. But Van de Ven, I think, is just fantastic value, isn't he? 4.5 million, haven't conceded a goal yet this season. And I think, due to the fact that Tottenham are not playing their ridiculous high... What is with these bots? What was I going to say? Yeah, due to the fact that Tottenham are not necessarily playing in the way they did under Ange, I think his hamstring is going to be a bit more protected. So I do like him as an option. But yeah, Man City, anything to talk about there? Trafford was an absolute liability in that game, didn't he? Cost them for their second goal. Looks like they're going to bring in Donnarumma. So yeah, we'll see on that one. See how they sign in goal. This chat's going mental, by the way. Ederson might be going to Galatasaray. I just don't know what's happening with City's goalkeeping situation. I feel like their team just isn't settled yet, is it? Marmoush started the game. He looked really good when he did play, but he only managed 53 minutes, which is interesting. He had a couple of good chances. Haaland had a big chance. You're unlucky if you've captained Haaland, I think, against Spurs, I'll be honest with you. Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0. I'd be worried about Wolves, to be honest. I'd be worried about Wolves. Strand Larsen was the one to be subbed as a result of the Totti red card as well. He had his head in his hands on the bench. Good to see you, Luca. I'll talk about my game week in a second. Tavernier with a goal, another assist for Semenyo. So that's 3 attacking returns in 2 games for Semenyo. He looks like, obviously, were we ever in doubt that he was a good option? Yeah, Wolves, they're a worry bead, aren't they? I think Wolves and West Ham, I saw enough from Brentford to convince me they'll probably be all right, to be honest, against Villa. But Wolves and West Ham at the moment are the worst of the stalwart Premier League teams, I think. I'd be a little bit worried about them. Agbadou with DEFCON. So he scored 4 points despite losing that game. But yeah, Wolves do not look too good. What's going on here? Any mods, by the way, if you see a duplicate of a user that's in the chat already, delete them immediately. All right, I'll probably get onto it as well. But yeah, help us out. Brentford 1, Villa 0. Yeah, we just said that, Nixie. I think he's off to Man City. Brentford looked convincing enough in that game. I would say Aston Villa grew into things in the second half. Dango, the new signing, with a goal after, when did he score? He scored in the first half, didn't he? So almost immediately in the Brentford team with a goal. Yeah, he looks really good, does Dango. So yeah, I think he could be a good option. 6 million. I think after that goal, his place in the team is relatively secure, isn't it? It's just the Brentford fixtures are not amazing. But at 6 million, you could probably bench him at that value, couldn't you? Saying Damsgaard was incredible. Yeah, good to have him back for Brentford, I think. I don't think Damsgaard is necessarily an FPL asset, but he's really important, of course, for Brentford. We got Burnley. They beat Sunderland 2-0. I benched Dubravka for Sanchez. What can we say about that one? I'd do it all over again, to be honest with you. I'd do it all over again. I wanted to spread the risk of Brentford not keeping a clean sheet. You know, Sunderland were really good against West Ham. I thought there was every chance that they could do something good today, Sunderland. But so that's why I didn't start Dubravka. But at the same time, obviously, Burnley are nice and solid defensively, and that was proven. So Ekdal got 14 DEFCON, Hannibal got 13, Anthony with 11. I think Ekdal, was he a defender? He is. So interestingly, he got double the DEFCON that Esteve got. Anyone got Ekdal in their team? not too much to talk through because I don't think too many people have Burnley or Sunderland players. Xhaka got DEFCON, which is interesting. But yeah, not too much to talk about there, I don't think. Or Ronaldo for Sunderland got DEFCON as well. And then the final game, Arsenal 5, Leeds 0. A brace for Gyökeres, a brace for Timber as well. I saw a lot of people in the comments of the video I made on last night talking about should they bring Timber into their team. Not sure about Timber. What do you think? Well, he's got Liverpool next. The fixtures are not great for Arsenal coming up, so I probably wouldn't be rushing him into my team. I'd imagine though his transfers in are pretty high, but I wouldn't be rushing him in. Brace for Gyökeres, and I think there was a fairly viral clip that went round. It was Charlie Austin, who is a former who is a former Premier League striker. He went on Sky Sports last week and was saying that Gyökeres feels like he could be a bit of a flat track bully, and I think that may have been proven right against Leeds. Penalty and a goal, looked all right in that game. I must say, I don't know how you feel, I don't think Gyökeres had a world-beating game. You know, the goal he scored was decent, but I thought Leeds could have defended it a bit better, and of course, he scored the penalty. So I don't think he had like a world-beating game, I've got to say. You know, I think he's a great striker, but at the same time, do you see where I'm coming from? He's got Liverpool up next, then Forest, then Man City, then Newcastle. Now, if you're on Watkins, it can be quite tempting, I think, to knee-jerk over to Gyökeres. But compare the two players in terms of fixtures. Watkins is absolutely clear, and I think I'd stick with Watkins. I've got Watkins, and I'm perfectly content sticking with him over Gyökeres. Couple of talking points for Arsenal in that they lost Odegaard due to an injury. He fell on his shoulder quite badly. And Saka to obviously the hamstring problem. Didn't get a prognosis of how long from Arteta they'll be out for. But given there's an international break coming up, it could be a case that both of these players just miss one game week. So yeah, that's the talking points from the game. If anyone was interested, we've now got 275 people in the chat, so they're catching up. And by the way, I said let's try and hit 100 likes. We got 275 people in the stream and only 59 likes. So if anyone can leave a like, I'd appreciate that. We can see if we can hit 100 likes before the end of the stream. So here's how I got on. I'm on 30 points so far, which is obviously a bit disappointing. Bear with. And I'm saying we're in 4.4 million overall at the moment because subs and that are all still coming in. So I'm counting it as 4.4 million. I've got 5 players to play. So Neco, Williams, Richards, Anderson. If he starts against Man United, he's coming in for Palmer. I'm kind of hoping Anderson is injured. It doesn't feature because I got 5 points from Pedro Porro on my bench. I've got Salah and Bruno Fernandes still to play. Salah's my captain. I'm still quite content with Salah as my captain. You know, the only other captain I would have wanted is Gyökeres. Obviously Saka scored, but he's injured now, so you'd probably not be too happy if you're a Saka owner. Gyökeres is probably the winning captain so far, isn't he, realistically? But yeah, I'm quite happy with Salah. Not Matt D. Would you transfer Wirtz out if he doesn't perform? Not yet. I think he deserves another chance. You know, I'd give players 3 weeks before, at least 3 weeks before making decisions on whether I transfer them out. And yeah, that's how my team's going. Does anyone want to do the quiz? We're nearly half an hour into the stream. I feel like it's a good time as any to do the quiz. Whoever triple captain Timber won the lottery. Indeed they did. Does Palmer have to go? Not for me just yet. Wait for news. Information for me is more important than catching price rises and rage transfers. With 2 free transfers, will you do Palmer and Dewsbury Hall to Bruno and Sarr? Nah, not yet. Gyökeres delivers when he's fed balls. That's fair enough. I'll tell you what. 100 likes and we'll do the quiz. How about that? I have Saka and Palmer, just a case of holding past the international break. Yeah, I think so. Saka's an interesting one because the Arsenal fixtures get tough and he's not on penalties. You know, the Arsenal fixtures are Liverpool, Forest, Man City, Newcastle. And Saka is not on penalties. So I think Saka is sellable, actually, if I had him. I wouldn't sell Palmer just yet, but I do think Saka is sellable. The only thing to bear in mind is that some of the Premier League teams have cup fixtures midweek. So I would be hesitant to bring in a player that plays midweek. And I always say information in FPL is more important than price rises as well. Scott Twine to Palace. Here we go. Yeah. We don't want to talk too much about Scott Twine because he could be sold. Do we know Saka's not on pens? There was a news article that came out this week to suggest that Gyökeres has been decided to be the Arsenal pen taker, and now Saka is injured. I mean, he's probably not going to take pens, is he? Closing in on 100 likes. Leave a like rating in the stream if you haven't already. Don't know why I'm looking at that. I want to show my team. There we go. I'm tempted to go early. I would stick, I think. Thoughts to move him to Bruno? Yeah, I don't mind that. I just let Bruno play today. Don't make any rash transfers on Bruno just yet, because anything could happen. But if Bruno gets through Game Week 2 unscathed, I think it's a smart transfer. But I don't think you need to chase it to prevent price rises. I always think just waiting until closer to the deadline to get more information is better than chasing price rises, in my personal opinion. That's just my opinion, of course. Sorry, bear with. I'm just doing something off screen. I will buy Eze next. No, I don't think it's a good idea. I think he'll do well for Arsenal, but we don't know how it all sort of gels together yet. So for me, I'd probably hang fire. Will you be back on FPL therapy? I haven't been asked to be on yet. I haven't wanted to bug Ross and ask to go on. It feels like something you should be. I don't know. I don't want to force myself in, if that makes sense. So I'm waiting on an invite. So maybe FPL Waves, if you put in a good word for me, if you're in his chat, I'd like that. I'd love to go on again. Honestly, the day I went on last year was one of the highlights of my year. It was just really cool. It was just really cool. I'll remember it for a long time. It depends who's first on your bench, Will. If Pedro Porro is first on your bench, then Porro's coming in. By the way, what you're looking at here is Fantasy Football Hub. If you want to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub, I get you 50% off. There's a link top of the description below. Alexander Lim, I wish it was that easy for me. I just don't have any time. I work 7 days a week in my main job and the 2 YouTube channels that I have. Starting a podcast of my own, I just don't have time. And like, some people say they don't have time and it's a bit of an excuse because they probably could find time. But genuinely with me, I promise you, I can't find the time. I barely have time to like see friends at the moment. It's great. My lifestyle's a bit crazy. So yeah. We got 100 likes. Let's have a look. 94 likes. 6 more likes and I will do the quiz. We got 5 quiz questions to go through. Kumar, I can't read your Akash Kumar. I wouldn't do it just yet, mate. Do you earn cash for swimming? No, I don't. I'd rather not. I work for an engineering company. I'll say that much. I don't want to say too much more. 7 days a week of work. Yeah, that's what I do, mate. I mean, I'm working on a Sunday. This is technically work now, isn't it? So yeah. I don't. Obviously, this is a real passion of mine. I don't see this as like I have to do it. I want to do this, but at the same time, you know. Okay, we got 100 likes. Let's do the quiz. I'll stop monologuing about my life. Right, here we go. Who is the top scoring player in Game Week 2 so far? Who is the top scoring player this game week so far? Let us know. Let us know. The answers are flying in. Everyone's saying Timber, and of course it is Urian Timber. He's on 24 points. He is the current top scoring player in Game Week 2 so far. I always like to do my little silhouette challenges as well. So can anyone tell me who that is? Who is that? A lot of these questions and silhouettes, they're relevant for Game Week 2. So this is a player that is relevant this week. This is a relevant player. Sorry, bear with. I'm just checking something off screen while you all answer the question. Some Gakpos, some Dangos, some Rogers, some Gahey, some Mbumos. The answer... Fraser, please help. Yeah, let me know, mate. What do you need? The answer is Dango Atara. So well done, everyone that said Dango. There are a few. I don't know how you got that, because I'll be honest, that could be anyone. Like, that could be anyone. So well done if you got that. I thought that would be a tough one. The next one is really tough. The next silhouette, that is. So I'm not going to... I don't have an answer slide for this one because it's obviously a live answer. But who is the most transferred out player this game week so far? And I'm going to leave it up for like 10 seconds because it's very easy to cheat. I want people to guess rather than cheat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's Palmer. He has been transferred out by 400,000 managers. And I'm just going to go on Fantasy Football Hub to see if he's going to change in price. And it doesn't look like at the moment, unless I'm being blind and not spotting Palmer's name, which I'm not. It doesn't look like he's going down in price just yet. Unless he's already gone down, that is. But it doesn't look like he is going to go down just yet. Which is interesting. So we'll see. We'll go back to the quiz. Sorry, bear with. We're just flying through a second. There we go. Next question. Who is that? If you can guess this, I will be amazed. If someone gets this right, as you can see, the person is kind of looking like that. So if you can guess who this is, I will be amazed. FPL Waves, it is not Paddy McGuinness. That's funny seeing some of these answers rolling. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Some people have got this right. It's absolutely unbelievable how people have guessed this. Because it doesn't look like him at all. It's 8 Nori. How have people gotten that? How have you gotten that? Even looks like he's got kind of a quiff at the top of his hair. It does look a bit like me. How have people gotten that is 8 Nori? If I'd done... You can't see that. He's totally blacked out. That's incredible. What gave it away? People that guessed 8 Nori. What gave that away? What an incredible guess. I'm blown away that 2 or 3 people got that. Okay, final question. How many goals have been scored in game week 2 so far? By the way, he's a talker bot, isn't he, 8 Nori? He's another one that might just miss game week 3 and then be back for game week 4. Have a guess, Paul, if you've not got a clue. You're okay to guess. The answer: 17 goals. 6 in the Chelsea-West Ham game. 2 for Spurs. 9. So that's 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 17. So well done, everyone that guessed 17. Let us know in the chat what you got out of 5 in the quiz. Go back to my team. It keeps, it's not my team. What's it doing? We have to search for the Great Custard Cream FC. We have to search for it. There we go. There's the Great Custard Cream FC. I'll stay live for another 5 minutes or so. We can have a bit of chit chat about game week 2, and then I'm going to hop off because I'm going to head home, and I'm going to have a swim as well. My shoulder is still knackered for anyone that was wondering, but I have to somewhat swim through the injury to fix it because it's a mechanical thing with my shoulder. So I have an easy swim. Basically, I can only do 8 lengths using my left arm because that's the one that's bad. So we're gonna do an easy swim to try and help my shoulder out. Anyone had a shoulder impingement before? That's what I'm struggling with at the moment. It's a little bit of it's been a right annoying one for me, I won't lie. Akash Kumar, will Wood rise? Well, you tell me. Dan the man. I would wait until Chris Wood plays this week to make a decision. If you're asking me to provide an opinion of a player that hasn't played this game week, it's really hard. The only one I can talk about with any level of sort of confidence is Rodri. I spoke about him in my buy and avoid video, but in the last season that he played in a full season, which is the 23-24 season, in the Premier League, he scored 8 goals and got 10 assists. So he had 18 attacking returns. Hiya, Alex, by the way. And he got DEFCON in like nearly half the games. And if you look at his points total across the season, Rodri averaged 5.8 points per game in that season in FPL, if DEFCONs were included. I think that makes him quite a good option in FPL. I don't know about you. So I guess we need to first of all, that he's back and playing and fit. And second of all, that he's the same player post ACL injury. But I'm sure he will be. And I had a rotator cuff injury last year as well. My shoulders just get knackered by swimming, mate. Yeah. For me, it was all about fixing it. Is all about activating your scapular muscles when you use your shoulders. So it's like the muscles in your back. You shouldn't just move your shoulder. Your shoulder should be manipulated and held in place by the scapular muscles in your back. So whenever you like lift your arm, you have to think about activating those scapular muscles. Yeah, that's what you need to do. I'm not a doctor, but I've spent a few hours with a physio now learning about my shoulders. Everyone's shoulder is a little bit different as well, depending on your like genetics. So your bones can be a little bit different. Your like musculature, obviously, your muscles can be different. But some people's shoulders have different sort of makeups as well, which is something I've learned. And Bumo or Cunha, impossible to decide on those two. Jokerez or Watkins? I'd say Watkins, you know. I'd still say Watkins. He's got better fixtures. What's up with you, Paul? I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. I hope everything goes well. I'm really sorry, mate. Have you broken something, my friend? If you'd rather not share, just DM me on Twitter. There's no need to share publicly if you wanna talk about it. Think of getting Sesko? No. There's no need to sell Watkins. Don't panic. Where's Villa? Where's Watkins? Torn a muscle. Oh, man. You will get better, mate. I promise. Human bodies are magic. You will get better. I just really like the Villa fixtures, I won't lie. I can imagine it's quite painful, mate. I can imagine. Yeah, that's an interesting t-shirt, Uwe. Brennan Johnson, yeah, not bad. I would be a little bit worried about who they sign in the window though, because they're in the market for Savinio. So I wonder what that means for Brennan Johnson's minutes. Right, I'm going to shoot off if that's okay. I have to head back to the family home for it's my dad's birthday coming up, so I've got to hand off some presents, and then I'm going for a swim. We'll do that quick, actually, Nixie. We'll do that quick. Score predictions for the games. Let's talk about that. That's a really good idea. That is a really good idea. So here are the games. Remaining games this week. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest. What are we saying? I'll go 0-0 because I've got defenders from both teams in my team. But I genuinely could see that being a 0-0. I don't know about you. Everton, Brighton. I see that being... It's the first game at the new stadium for Everton, by the way. I can see Everton, Brighton being a 1-1. I don't see a way that Everton keep a clean sheet with Michael Keane starting, though. Fulham, Man United, I'll be honest, I think Man United win that one, 3-1. They look really good against Arsenal, did Man United. And yeah, Mbeumo and Cunha look really dangerous. But I think the jury's out on whether they're good FPL options yet, because we haven't seen enough of them. But that Arsenal game was promising, wasn't it? And then Liverpool, Newcastle, I think that might be another 3-1. I just don't think Newcastle have enough firepower up front at the moment. They don't have a striker. But then Liverpool are not terrible, but they don't have a good defence at the moment. They need to do some business. I think they'll bring in Gahey, but that's going to take some time, I think. They've not got that over the line yet. So yeah, those are my predictions. Cheers for that idea, Nixie. I enjoyed that. Right, I will go now. I'll catch you all later. If you want to get another fix of FPL content, if you haven't seen it already, I've made a buy and avoid video ahead of Game Week 3. So you can check that out. And also, I uploaded a little YouTube short earlier on as well. So if you like your short form content, it's one of those to watch as well. Not that you'd actively like go out your way to watch it. You're probably scrolling through, but yeah, I thought I'd mention it. All right.